Opposed to attorney Jed Dietrich, who's back in this new year with some very good legal advice for us all. And your phone calls are always welcome at 644-9840. Happy New Year, sir.
Hi, Linda. Good to see you.
Nice to see you, too.
Thank you.
Listen, we don't like them, but we're all a victim of a car accident, usually at one time or another.
It happens, and what you need to do is get the police involved right from the get-go, so you get a police report so the insurance companies know what happened. Then you need to get checked out by a doctor, and then you need to contact an attorney, and you need to contact a lawyer who has done this type of work before. 95% of my work is car accident work. And we get involved even if people aren't that injured in the beginning, because you don't know how serious an injury is, and sometimes injuries develop. So there's a number of doctors in Buffalo who specialize in the spinal injuries, and my firm and some of the other firms in Western New York know those doctors, and we work with those doctors to try to get people back on their feet. We're lucky in New York because New York is a no-fault state, which means that all of your medical bills are paid. There's never a deductible. You don't need a pre-authorization to get treatment after a car accident, and your wages are reimbursed. So people come to my office, they say, I can't miss work, I can't afford to miss work, but the doctor thinks I shouldn't work. I say, you have to follow the doctor's instruction, and we can help you with the no-fault. And we work with your own insurance company, the no-fault company, and we get your wages reimbursed. And in New York, you're lucky because 80% of your gross wages, tax-free, are reimbursed from no-fault. So you can live, you can pay your bills, and you can recuperate. And during that period of time in the beginning of the case, that's why it's so important to contact a lawyer right away. You have questions, and a lot of people haven't been involved in accidents like this before, and that's why you contact a lawyer, you contact them free of charge. I work free of charge, and that's standard in my business, until the end of the case. And at the end of the case, then there's a contingency arrangement. So that's good for me and for the clients, because the more money I receive for the clients, the more money I get for myself and my firm, and there's a relationship there where we're working together to get you on your feet and to get the case resolved in a fair and reasonable way.
You're right, Jed. And you know, sometimes, of course, the accident happens so fast, you're not thinking. You're just wondering if there is anybody hurt. I was involved in a fender bender where we were at a light, and the first guy who was at the light stalled out. Everybody started to go, so it was this chain reaction. So a guy hit me, pushed me into the guy in front of me. Okay, so we pulled over, and then the guy behind me says, I don't see any damage. Bye. Well, when the police officer showed up, he was really upset that that guy took off.
Sure. That's very important.
I didn't know to make him stay, and the thing is, within 30 days, you have to report that to
the New York State Department of
and
Motor
they'll
Vehicles.
send you a letter.
Yes, they will. Exactly. And it's in these impacts, these rear-end collisions, which again are about 90% of my work. Sometimes there might not be that much damage to your car, but the thing is, the cars are designed right now to absorb a certain amount of impact, about 5 to 10 miles per hour, without showing damage. But what the cars do is they take the damage and they put it through your spine, because the car absorbs the damage, but then you move forward, even though you're restrained by your seatbelt, and then your head moves forward and it snaps back, and that's when you can cause the injury. In my office, we work with experts who have been trained to go into court and to tell people what this reaction's all about, how the mechanics of the injury occur, because sometimes the insurance companies, the defense attorneys, they'll say, hey, oh, there wasn't a lot of damage to this car, and they'll show pictures in front of the jury, and we'll come in, and if we've got a client who makes a nice impression, she or he is very reasonable, that's where the case hinges. I mean, and I work with my clients right from the beginning. I prepare every single case as if it's going to go to court. I know most people don't want to go to court, and 95% of the cases don't go to court. But what you need to do to prepare the case properly to achieve a fair and reasonable result is to prepare every case like it's going to go to court. So you talk to the doctors, you talk to the clients, you make sure the history is provided properly, and then you put a case together where you can say to the insurance company, look, we've got a strong claim here. Let's try to work it out. And if it doesn't work out, then we go to trial. And my results, which are on my website called Jed.com, I mean, they speak for themselves. You want a lawyer who's got a track record. And that's what I try to show through my marketing, that I've got a track record that the insurance companies know about, other lawyers know about, and my current clients know about, and that brings people to my attention.
All right, Jed, we have a phone call for you, and we'll go right to the phones because you're welcome in this segment. Hello, welcome. Hi, caller, can you speak up for us?
Hi, Chris from Orchard Park.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Chris from Orchard Park.
We hear you.
I got a question. What about the people are tailgating a lot lately?
Oh, yes.
Now, who's at fault then?
In a tailgate accident where the person ends up hitting you from the back?
Yes.
Yeah. Cliff? Yeah, Cliff, that's a good question, and the reality is that almost 100% of the time, if you hit someone from behind, the person who does the hitting from behind is at fault. And the law is very clear on that you're supposed to be aware of what's in front of you. So even if the person in front of you is going too slow in their particular lane, or perhaps they're turning abruptly, the obligation almost exclusively is on the person who's following from behind to not rear-end the person in front of them. So if you're in a situation where you've got someone who's tailgating you, my suggestion would be to turn on your right-hand blinker and pull off to the side, let them pass you. You don't want to get into a situation where you're in a conflict or a road rage case, and I've had those cases before. And frankly, the person can be a victim, and it's not their fault, but once you start talking about road rage and you hear a jury talking about that, they think two people might be at fault. So the best thing to do is just to back off and get out of their way and let those people go forward.
Jed, how do you prove that somebody was on the phone? Because I was behind a van who was doing like clearly 10 miles under the speed limit in the left-hand lane, and then when you finally get around her, you look and she's on the phone. I
got to tell you, Linda, that is a great question. And today, with the society going toward the smartphones and the texting and all the rest of that, obviously you should never be texting while you're driving in a situation where there are other cars around you, or there are on-ramps or off-ramps. And I can get the records from the cell phone company, and I do that through a subpoena. And very frequently I do that. And I got to tell you, the police are generally pretty good when there's a collision. They kind of poke around at that. So, and we use the police report and get that information.
Okay, all right. We have another phone call coming in from Elma this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Linda.
Hi, go ahead, please.
I have a question for Jed. It's weather related. When we had the bad snowstorm start a few days ago, I was at the show with my little daughter, and I came out, and the movie theater didn't have anything salted or shoveled, and I took a bad fall and hurt my knee. And I'm wondering if there's any recourse for that.
Absolutely there is. In New York, you're under an obligation to keep your property in a reasonably safe state. Now, if you fell during the snowstorm, there is a defense for the property owner that says if it's during a storm in progress, the property owner has the right to have a certain period of time to try to correct that. So let's say it snowed in the morning, a couple hours before you fell, and they knew the movie theater was starting 2 hours after it snowed, and they didn't get out there, they didn't salt it, they didn't sand it, they didn't move the snow away. Absolutely, positively, there's a legitimate claim there. And if you have further questions, call my office at 839-3939. I'd be happy to speak with you. The other thing is, Linda, and I know you mentioned this a moment ago, is I give my cell phone to every single client. And that's an important thing, because when you have a lawyer, that's a relationship. An attorney-client relationship is a close relationship. It's like a doctor-patient relationship. And I like to keep those lines of communication open. So every single client I have, I give personal attention to.
Well, that's why you do a great job for everybody, Jed.
Thanks, Linda.
Your commercials, I think, and your work speaks for itself. The Dietrich Law Firm, right here, 839-3939, 839-3939, or you can go to Jed's website at calljed.com. They're located on North Forest Road in Amherst. Give them a call today. And this preceding segment sponsored by the Dietrich Law Firm.